Greetings, Haiti. Greetings. Greetings, fellow Haitians and Haitian Americans, especially the brothers and sisters in Springfield, Ohio. Greetings, Haitian diaspora. Greetings, humanity. The disciples of Gobineau seem to be coming at us again. This time it is not as thieves and eaters of cats and dogs, but apparently as destroyers of culture. Be on the lookout for a book entitled Haitians of Springfield, When One Culture Eats Another, by Joshua Lisec. Joshua Lisec is a prolific, self-branded #1 ghostwriter and best-selling co-author whose mega ties run through Unhumans 2024 with Jack Posobiec, a book with a foreword by Steve Bannon and a blurb from J.D. Vance, published by Bannon's War Room Books, and Bulletproof, an account of the assassination attempts on Donald Trump that was endorsed by Trump himself. In the autumn of 2024, the small manufacturing city of Springfield, Ohio, became an unlikely fixture of national political discourse. A community that had quietly received several thousand Haitian immigrants, people present lawfully under federal humanitarian provisions, was suddenly thrust into a storm. The claim that Haitian newcomers were abducting and eating pets appeared in a social media post and spread rapidly through partisan networks. The allegation reached tens of millions when it was invoked during a nationally televised presidential debate, despite a total lack of evidence. Independent fact-checkers established within days that there was no credible evidence for the allegation whatsoever. Yet, the absence of evidence did little to slow the story's circulation. How does a demonstrable falsehood become a governing narrative? This episode poses a question that exceeds the boundaries of any single town. What older scripts does such a lie draw upon? In October 2026, the publisher Regnery is scheduled to release Haitians of Springfield, When One Culture Eats Another. While the book is not yet available for review as a completed text, its title and publisher framing are public rhetorical acts. This documentary adopts a posture of interrogation rather than verdict. We ask what traditions these frames echo. A title is a speech act. It makes a claim and mobilizes associations before a single page is ever turned. Our methodology is one of caution. A title is a speech act, and we examine it as a public rhetorical artifact that invites scrutiny before a single page is ever turned. We sort our materials into verified facts, direct statements, public context, first-person testimony, and scholarly interpretation. To understand the present, we must meet a ghost, Arthur de Gobineau, the French aristocrat who systematized racial hierarchy. Between 1853 and 1855, Gobineau asserted that humanity could be sorted into a hierarchy that explained the rise and fall of civilizations. Gobineau's significance lies in systemization. He gave racism the appearance of a science and the structure of a theory of history. In the 20th century, his vocabulary would be absorbed and grotesquely operationalized by the racial ideologies of National Socialism. His architecture relied on the latter metaphor, the conviction that human groups can be ranked along a single axis of worth. Once human worth is ranked, the ranking is readily mobilized to justify exclusion, domination, and the policing of contact. The decisive 19th century refutation of Gobineau came not from Europe, but from Haiti, through the scholar Antonin Firmin. While serving in Paris, Firmin was admitted to the Société d'Anthropologie, a citadel of the very racial science he would contest. In 18 months, he composed a 600-page reply titled The Equality of the Human Races, inverting Gobineau's claim. Firmin dismantled the craniometry of his day, exposing the circularity and measurement artifacts on which claims of hierarchy rested. As perhaps the first anthropologist of African descent, he asserted the fundamental unity and equality of the human species. That century of delay is part of the argument. Firmin's book was buried, not receiving an English translation until the year 2000. This pattern illustrates what Michel Rolfe-Trouillot called the silencing of histories that challenged the Metropolitan Academy. To recover Firmin is to restore Haiti to its rightful place as an agent, not an object, in the global history of human dignity. As the author, I write not from a posture of detachment, but from a declared commitment to human equality and Haitian dignity. The subtitle, When One Culture Eats Another, rewards close reading. Its governing metaphor is consumption. It casts cultural contact as a zero-sum struggle for survival, rather than exchange, adaptation, or coexistence. The metaphor transposes the debunked pet-eating allegation into a figurative register where it can no longer be fact-checked. It preserves the effective charge of the lie. If the immigrants do not literally eat pets, Perhaps their culture eats the host culture. The vocabulary of crisis and supersession belongs to a recognizable genre of replacement discourse in the 21st century. Migration is narrated not as a human and economic phenomenon to be managed, but as an existential displacement to be resisted. We establish that the public framing participates in a hierarchy of culture's script, the very script tracing back to Gobineau. A book's framing is shaped by the ecosystem that produces it. Regnery is a long-established conservative imprint. The author previously co-wrote Unhumans, a book whose title frames political opponents as something less than human. This is a fact about a published text in its title, not a claim about the author's private convictions or formal affiliations. What we observe is a pattern of framing human groups through metaphors of consumption and subhumanity. There is a political economy to consider. Outrage is a commodity in the contemporary attention market. Publishing ecosystems that monetize cultural conflict have structural incentives to amplify rather than de-escalate racialized panic. The Springfield episode is not sui generis. It is the latest entry in the long catalog of anti-Haitian rhetoric. In 2018, Haiti was reportedly described as a shithole country, a phrase that crystallized a durable hierarchy of national worth. This pattern has deep historical roots. Haiti's very existence has been treated as an affront to be punished since 1804. The Haitian Revolution was a living refutation of the doctrine that Africans were suited only for bondage. The contemporary smear is the dishonoring of a people whose history indicts the very hierarchy that the smear seeks to revive. Replacement narratives recast migration as demographic warfare, transferring the moral burden to the displaced themselves. They supply an emotional logic, fear of being eaten or replaced, that no quantity of fact-checking can fully neutralize. In the 20th century, Martin Luther King Jr. supplied a second answer in the Register of Justice. He envisioned a nation where people are judged by the content of their character rather than a scriptive category. This is the precise inverse of the Gobineau ladder. Character evaluates individuals and insists on their equal standing. Nelson Mandela supplies the third answer. Imprisoned for 27 years under apartheid, he emerged to dissolve hierarchy. He presided over the construction of a non-racial democracy, choosing reconciliation over revenge. Mandela recognized that the only durable answer to hierarchy is its abolition, not its reversal. Read together, Furman, King, and Mandela constitute a layered rebuttal, science, justice, and freedom to a single lie. The hierarchy survives today by changing its clothes. Culture can be made to do the work that race once did. Dehumanization through food taboo, disgust, and animalization is a strategy with a long genocidal history. To name a group as eaters of the forbidden is to place them outside the circle of shared humanity. As a Haitian born and raised in Haiti, I know how dangerous it is when a whole people is reduced to a rumor. Every nation on earth has its margins and its eccentrics, and no isolated act, real or invented, has ever justified branding an entire people. To conjure a menu of stolen pets and pin it on Haitian immigrants was not ethnography, it was insult. It belongs to the same moral family as calling Haiti and African nations shithole countries. It was a slander against a people who gave the world one of the greatest declarations of human freedom. No isolated act, real, alleged, or invented, has ever justified branding an entire people. To conjure stolen pets was not ethnography. It was slander against a people who gave the world a great declaration of freedom. There is an ethics to cultural clarification. We must decline to supply the raw material for bad faith weaponization. The stronger position is one of principle. No isolated practice has ever licensed the collective racialization of a people. The Springfield falsehood demonstrates how digital and AI-mediated media can outrun verification at historical speeds. A single fabricated claim, lent emotional charge, and algorithmic reach can saturate the civic dialogue instantly. Publishing ecosystems have structural incentives to monetize conflict. Recycling hierarchy is not merely possible, but profitable. The implied response is educational. Critical media and AI literacy is the civic competency adequate to this environment. It is the practice of verifying claims, examining sources, and recognizing the rhetoric of disgust. Within the human-centered framework, natural intelligence must lead and artificial intelligence assist. In any encounter with a manufactured narrative, the human mind must remain the final authority. Your brain is the boss. To refuse the rumor is not only a moral act, but a literacy practice. and it can be taught to all. We are committed to building a multilingual AI literacy library to ensure Haiti and the diaspora are leaders in the innovation era. We advocate for building an AI literacy library for Haiti and the diaspora in French, Haitian Creole, and English to bridge the digital divide. So who are the Haitians of Springfield really? They are workers and parents, students and churchgoers. They are caregivers, entrepreneurs, and taxpayers. Not a crisis, not a symbol, not a rumor. Within this human-centered framework, we insist on a core principle. Natural intelligence must lead. Artificial intelligence must assist. Your brain is the boss. They are people with names in a homeland that taught the world what freedom costs. Now Springfield asks America whether it will answer Gobineau again, with fear or with humanity. The future of our shared civic life will be determined by the wisdom and literacy with which we choose to refuse the lie. Natural intelligence first, artificial intelligence second, humanity always. Dedicated to my dear grandchildren, l'union fait la force. As we close this alert, we must continue the dialogue for Haiti's future in the AI era. We invite you to explore our 5 digital platforms designed to empower the Haitian diaspora and build critical literacy. Our vision is Scientia Innovatio Humanitas. Our mission is dedicated to providing knowledge and innovation in the service of humanity. This is the commitment of Dr. Vermele Global EdTech and Research LLC to our community. Visit drvermier.com and drvermierbooks.com. Join us as we promote AI literacy for Haiti and the world.